Hi everybody, Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a few projects to share with you featuring the gorgeous new Bunnies and Bows collection available at the Greetery. And here's some of the products that I'll be featuring on my card. This is the new Bunny Tails stamp set that has the Bunny Tails coordinating dies. It's an adorable, timeless, bunny themed stamp set. Here is Bitty Botanicals, which is a background cling, and it also has a coordinating stencil. This one here is called Diamond Ribbon, and there's also a die for that as well. The Bitty Botanicals, this is really cool. It's a background cling, has a coordinating stencil so that you can blend the blooms all in a variety of colors. So I'm going to start with that. This fits perfect in the Mini Misty. It's like 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. You know Betsy Veldman, she's so smart, you know? So this is a cling. It's red rubber mounted on a cushy foam cling, so it will stick to the door of your Misty. You take out that foam pad. I put a little tape runner on the base of my Misty. That way it holds my, I'm just using some Hammermill white cardstock and sticking that down while I stamp this cling. The thing about red rubber clings is that they stamp so crystal clear. You can get incredible detail with it. Okay, so first up, I'm inking this up with Sea Glass ink. This is a Concord 9th color. I kind of flip around. I use a lot of Concord 9th, and then I'll pull out a little Pawsitively saturated inks by Simon Says Stamp. I just grab whatever colors I'm feeling. Okay, so first I'm doing the Sea Glass. I do stamp it a couple times just to get a little bit more intense. And I have this little, what is that thing called? The little tool that helps you press down. Chucky tool. I had to look it up. Actually, years ago, somebody sent me a couple of these, a lady who made them, and I can't remember her name. I wish I could tell you. But anyway, I think there's a lot of DIYs out there. We take these like glass jar lids. I love this one. I have a few different types of these Misty tools, pressure, but this one's my favorite. And it's like a glass jar lid with felt on the bottom. And I just like the way it fits in my hand. Anyway, I stamped the background again with Sprout ink. So I have one with Sprout, one with Sea Glass. And then now I'm going to show you how to take this coordinating stencil to add your blooms. Because right now all I have is stamped the stems. So now we're going to add colorful blooms. And this is where you can really bring in a lot of color or a little. You know, maybe you just want to do it all with one color. You can do that too. So I'm just using Post-it tape to hold everything down. Yes, I know I have the grip mats. I just forget to bring them out, if I'm being honest with you. And this is how I used to always do it, holding things down with Post-it tape. And I still do it. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I have all the grip mats. I have them to hold this all down. Now, I'm using, these are the Waffle Flower little detail blender brush. I think they're Waffle Flower. They could be Pink Fresh Studio. I think they're Waffle Flower. Using Concord 9th ink, I've got Ballet Slipper. So I'm going to do this whole panel with Ballet Slipper and Honeysuckle ink. So on the left side of all the blooms, I'm blending Ballet Slipper. Just a soft, light pink. And then on the right side, I'll bring in that Honeysuckle. So you're going to get kind of like a two-tone pinky bloom on the top of every stem. It's a little cluster of blooms, I should say. This might have gone a little faster if I used a bigger blending brush, but I pulled this one out thinking I could get in the nooks and crannies, you know? So it takes a little time. I'm not going to show everything. You get the idea. I blend the Ballet Slipper on the right side, on the left side. Okay, now I'm pulling out Honeysuckle, and I'm going to blend that darker pink shade over on the right side. I always have scratch paper so I can see how much ink I've got there, kind of get the feel, how saturated, how vibrant. But yeah, it's very forgiving. And so here we go. I'm just doing it on every little cluster on the right side. And I try to blend it into that Ballet Slipper so you have like, you know, a seamless gradient transition. So there you have that. Now you can see the packaging over on my left. They did every one in a different color, which I did on my next panel, the panel that I stamped with Sprout. I do that when I don't show it, but I blend that one with a variety of colors, so it's a lot more colorful. This one here is just very subtle with the sea glass stems and the pink blooms. It has a vibe, and I love it for the Bunny Tails card. Now here is the Diamond Ribbons layering stencil set, and you can use these in a variety of ways. I believe there's 3 or 4 stencils. Here's what the back of the packaging gives you an idea. Yeah, 4 stencils, and you don't have to use them all, or you can use some. I'm just going to use this first one, and it kind of makes little diamond ribbons that go in between all your blooms. So lining that up so that my blooms are centered. This time I pulled out a Distress ink, Scattered Straw. I didn't want yellowy, but I wanted kind of a creamy yellowy. So Scattered Straw it was. I have a Rainbow Splash blender brush, and I'm not going very heavy on this. It's pretty light. I actually want it to be a little bit irregular, like some spots to be darker, some to be lighter, so it almost has a bit of a vintage worn-in feel. You can see there, it's a little fainter and more vivid in certain spots, which I love. And then I'm going to take the other stencil that has just the little dots, and that's going to do like just the little centers where all the ribbons meet. Again, with the Scattered Straw, this would be a great time to pull out another color, or you could do paste. A lot of different things you could do with the Diamond Ribbons layering stencil set to get a lot of different looks. I'm just doing Scattered Straw. Some are darker, some are lighter, which is what I wanted. And this is so pretty, so dainty, delicate, feminine, and vintagey, and it leans itself to that storybook feel. So now we're moving on to the Bunny Tails stamp set. I'm going to stamp this little floral wreathy frame. I have a panel of Ballet slipper cardstock, and I'm inking up the frame with Honeysuckle. So it's kind of a darker pink onto a light pink panel. So pink on pink kind of makes it a little bit softer. I'll stamp that twice. You know, they say stamp it twice to make it nice. And then use the coordinating die to cut this out. And it's going to make a cute little wreathy frame for my bunnies. Okay, so I took that off camera, ran it through my die cutting machine. And these dies can be cut apart. So if you just want to die cut the inner, which is what I'm doing here, it's nice when they're held together, but if you want to just, I'm going to cut this right into that blended background panel. And so I wanted to line this up to make sure it was centered. And then I'm going to take this off camera and die cut this right into that blended panel. And then we're going to lay this over top of a cream panel here. So this is Rustic Cream, one of my favorite cardstocks. It's by Paper Tray Ink, and it's like a cream, but it's got speckles in it. It's rustic. It's a rustic cream. I'm going to stamp these bunnies so they're kind of peeping out of the frame. So I just want to get them lined up first, and then I'll stamp them behind. I'm using Cappuccino ink. This is a positively saturated ink by Simon Says Stamp. I didn't want a harsh black. I wanted something a little bit softer. See how they kind of just peep out behind that frame? Now this sentiment here is from Bunny Tails. It says Happy Spring, but I just wanted the word spring. So I'm not going to cut the stamp. I'm just going to use a little smidge of Post-it tape, and I'm only inking up spring with that Honeysuckle ink. So make sure you take the Post-it tape off before you stamp it. I think I stamp it twice, just to make it nice. So put that Post-it tape back on, ink it up with Honeysuckle, and then stamp it again. And this all kind of ties in, that Honeysuckle sentiment ties in with the Honeysuckle blooms. Here's another sentiment from the Bunny Tails stamp set. I think it says Easter Blessings, but I'm going to make it Spring Blessings. I was getting creative, you know. Maybe you don't want to send an Easter card, you want to send a spring card, but you want to send blessings for the spring. Okay, yeah, I was getting creative. So I inked that up with Cappuccino, and it's going to say Spring Blessings. I kind of just like nestled it right under there, and it fits. And then now there's these other little itty bitty stamps in the Bunny Tails. And this is going to stamp the inner ear and a rosy cheek on the bunny. And I'm using that with Ballet Slipper. I had to stamp this a few times to get it to show up. If you don't want to take the time, you could easily just take a Copic marker, like an RV10 or an R30. Those are my top two for doing a rosy cheek, like an RV10 or an R30. You could just do it with a Copic. But if you want to do the stamp, it's all lined up. And there's a teeny light little one for the baby bunny for a rosy cheek. So I'm doing that as well with the Ballet Slipper. Okay, so there you have your bunnies. And then I'm going to trim this panel just a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch on the sides. And that way you'll have a bit of a margin. That's just a personal preference. I love to have a little bit of a border when I pop things up, so you'll see that rustic cream panel on the outer edges as well as on the inner focal. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape on the back of this. This is that Big Mama foam tape by Simon's Stamp. I love it because it gives you the dimension, but it's still pretty thin. Gives you a nice little shadow right there. See how that Spring Blessings just fits just like snug as a bug in a rug. A little bit of foam tape on the back of this little floral wreathy frame. And then I'm going to pop this up right there where it lines up with the die cut opening. This is so sweet. It's like a soft little storybook feel. I used a tape runner to adhere this onto a white card base. And then you can stop, but I decided to pull out some Concord 9th enamel dots. I think these are the color Honeysuckle. And I'm just adding those to some little points on the wreathy frame. It's a bit extra, totally unnecessary. But you know what else would look cute is a little pearl, like a pearl embellishment dot or a pearl sequin, something dainty. You don't really want to bring in a new color, but something that kind of coordinates with everything. So there you have a spring blessing featuring the bunny tails, the bitty blossoms, and the diamond ribbons. Here's another card that I made. That's with the panel that I stamped with Sprout. I did all the blooms with different colors, and I also did the Have a Spine die, so I turned this into a book looking card. I also added the little white pom-pom tails on the bunnies. The Greetery sells those in the different sizes. Here's another one featuring the bitty blossoms on the background, and it uses the Hey Honeycomb bunny die. Look at that honeycomb belly. I can't even take it. And you can fold that down so that you can fit it in an envelope so you can mail it, and the recipient can fold open that honeycomb belly. Here I did the bitty blossoms on that background. I did it with buttercream ink onto a buttercream panel. So tone on tone. There's 4 different ways using the bitty blossoms, the bunny tails, and the Hey Honeycomb, and all the fun new stuff at the Greetery, available now. Check it out. And also check out Betsy Veldman and the rest of the design team. They're incredible designs and samples. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.